Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good. So instead of creating a tag, it's just that I don't want to leave my page. I just want to be showing you everything here. I don't want to keep going back and forth. Since I've already taught you how to link it, you can still do the same thing. I can still decide to use this page, or I create another .css if I want to. But for now, I just want us to be seeing everything on one page, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Good. So now the next thing I want us to see is a display called what? None. None makes the container disappear. Now let's see what I mean. We've seen this before. What container do I want to make disappear now? I want to make this one to disappear, the div. This one that has a long width. I want it to disappear from this place. Now what do? I go to the div. I am using the element selector. Do you know what I mean by element selector? Do you people still remember what I taught you about element selector?
No.
Why are you saying no? I taught you about the CSS selectors where I taught you class, I taught you ID, I taught you
I
the element
remember.
selector. Good. Someone has been saying no in the background. No, no, you cannot tell me no because I taught you this well. So what we are doing here is we are just selecting the elements by just selecting the A. And why I am doing this is because I did not repeat any of the elements here, if you notice. But assuming I have so many P's, I will need to give them names, okay, so that I can style it separately. Now I am selecting another element, and what element is that? The div. I want my div to disappear from this page. So the property I'll give it is a display of what?
No.
None. Good. So let's see if our div will still be there. Can you see our div is gone?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So this is what the display does for you, the display of none. If I still want this A to disappear from our page, I can still make it what? None. If I also want this H1 to disappear from the page, I can still make it what? None. And let's see how many elements we have left. We're just left with two because I displayed the other ones as none. Most of the time you do that when you're creating a page, because at this point you don't want something to show, but then afterwards, maybe when I click on something, make it show. So how do you make it disappear? You just use none first. Okay, you make it none first, but don't worry, you still get to the point where you definitely need this display here. You will get to the point where you need it so well. So now this is another one. I'll get rid of it because I still need my elements, okay? I still need my elements. I want them here. I don't want them to disappear from my page. So the next thing we are going to learn is the other property called flex. The property called flex. But then before getting to flex, I want to make sure I tidy up everything concerning inline and block. That means I want to tidy up this last one here before I take you to flex, because you need to calm down and really understand flex. Now this one is inline block. This display, this value makes your element look like a block. Act no, it makes it act like a block and also act like an inline. What do I mean by this? If you give an element inline block, now let me come here and take off this A. You know our A is naturally an inline, right? You know,
Yes, ma'am.
you know
Yes, ma'am.
our A is naturally an
Yes,
good,
ma'am.
good. So you know our A is naturally an inline. Let me just remove the style. Is my voice breaking again?
Um, no.
Good. So you
No.
know that. Okay, good. So you know that A is naturally an inline. Now, what I want to do now is I want to make it an inline block. What does inline block mean? It will still stay as an inline, but you will not be able to change the width and the height. That is what an inline block does for you. It helps you change width and height while maintaining it as an inline. So now naturally when you have the A tag, you cannot change the width. Let me show you what I mean. You cannot change the width when it's just uh the A tag. Let me show you. This is the A. I am changing the A that is naturally an inline. I want to change the width and it is not working. It's still there looking at me. Now I want to display it as
Oluchi
an.
is glitching.
Can you
It's
hear me?
glitching. It has been glitching since.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear now?
Um, it was always clear. But it has been glitching from my side. If anybody tries to talk, it will start glitching again.
Is
Yeah.
it
No, you no go use Chrome. Use another
is
Was
it
it
really
that
from
one
my
of it?
side?
Don't leave am.
No, I'm not sure.
I can hear you clearly without glitching.
Me too. Not from your side.
Let me see it's not from my side now.
Very clearly.
Okay, good. So let me continue. Now I tried changing the width of my A to 300 pixels, but it did not work. But if I decide to display it as, first of all, let me take away the width I gave it by making it a comment. If I now try to display it to be an inline block, now this is it. This is what I mean. This is an inline block. Let me see what it looks like first. It's still there, looking like an inline, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma.
Good. So now, if I decide to, let me uncomment this. I've decided to add a width of 300 pixels. Let's see what will happen. Now it has stretched out. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am. But what
It
still
has.
makes it inline?
Huh?
What makes it inline again?
The attribute is inline block joined together. So it works as an inline, but you can still apply that property that block has that inline doesn't have, which is the ability to change the width and the height. Do you understand? What's your question?
When we are writing with the block, do we make space or we just join everything?
Do you do what? Look at how it looks. It's being separated by a hyphen. It comes together inline hyphen block.
Okay.
Okay, that's what it. So the first form it will take is the inline form, which is by being inline with others. But then it will now take up that block property, which helps it increase in width and in height. That is what the inline block does. So now let's go through it again. The inline just stays inline. It doesn't increase in width. It doesn't increase in height. The block stretches out across the width, but it increases in width and then in height. There is a non-property that makes that element disappear if you set it to display as none. Then there is another one called the inline block that makes it stay inline or still be able to increase in width and height. Does this make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, these are just the display properties you need to remember because one day you will create a lot of websites. One day you will need one where you will need to, okay, you need to, I want this to still stay inline, okay? I don't want it to be a block. I want it to still stay inline, but I actually want to increase the width. You will need it. So it's best to learn all these display properties now. So the last display property we have on our list is what? The flex property, and this displays an element.
Okay,
Can you all still hear me?
ma'am.
Yes, ma.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
that's good.
Ma'am.
Okay, now the flex is what we're going to learn now. And what does it entail? It displays an element as a block level container. Now let me show you what I mean. You don't just go and decide to pick an element and say flex. How does it work most of the time? It has to be inside a container. And what do I mean by this container? Either you use the div or a section. But right now, I want us to use a div because it needs a parent. A parent is anything that occupies another element inside of it. Like this body now that has a whole lot of elements inside of it is the parent of this P, this div, this H1, this A. Now assuming this A has assuming this A, okay, let me use another one for instance. You've seen the UL, right?
Yes, ma'am.
The
Yes,
UL that
ma'am.
has
Yes,
LI
ma'am.
inside. Okay, yes. The UL that has LI inside. That UL, let's say we have something like this. Let me create the UL here. UL and it has LI. Good. Now this UL now has this element inside of it. That means this is the mother, right? It's the parent
Yes,
of this. This is the child, while this is the parent. But body is still the parent of UL because body, the UL is still inside the body. While the UL was able to give birth to another child, which is the LI, it's now a mother itself. That means it's now a parent. But this one is still a parent. So you can still have a child inside a parent and a parent inside another parent. That's how codes look like most of the time. So for this flex to work, it has to be inside a container because I will show you what I mean by that. Now let us copy out. We already have three here, right? Three elements here,
yes,
right? Now
Yes,
I just, yes, I don't want you to get confused at all. What I want to do is I want to copy out this one now and put it inside a container so that it will have a mother on its own. Let me cut it. I'll say I will paste what I copied inside. Now these elements one, two, three now have a mother, which is this div, which is the container. Okay, okay. It's now shooting. It's now like the backpack that they are storing P, div, and H1. And you can have it so many times. You can have a div again that has other things inside apart from this one. No, you can still decide to. You can store as many elements as you want inside a div. It just comes there like one kind container for you. It helps you out. So right now at this point we need the div. That doesn't change how it looks. Now see our it's still the same way, just that I repeated it, I copied it and I pasted it. Okay, it still comes out looking like this and looking like this. It doesn't change anything until you apply a style to it. Now let me get rid of this one because I don't want it. Now for me to do what I want to do with this flex box, I have already stored it inside a box. What the div does is it comes looking like a box. If I decide to give this a background color of um let me give it a background color of red so that you see, oh, I'm wrong, background color, I'll make it red so that you see what I mean by it being a box. Now can you see what happened? Can you all see?
yes, ma'am.
Let me move. Are you people
yes,
getting
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
confused in any way? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what's wrong. Let me pick you back up.
The style stuff
that now you were saying something about the tags having the parents. I don't really understand that.
Okay, I just don't want you to get confused. I just want you to know that a an element can still be inside an element. You know when we created table, right? We created table and we had TR and we had TD inside, right? You were there in the class when we did something like this, right?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Now this table now opened its mouth and contained all these ones. That means this table gave birth to these ones now. Well, it's not like really gave birth. I'm just trying to break it down for you in any way I can. So now for the fact that this element, this one is an element, this one is an element, this one is an element. But all these things are inside the table, right? The table is shielding all these elements. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The table, this
Yes,
particular
ma'am.
tag has these elements inside. It automatically means that this is now the parent. Okay, because this one is taking charge of everything in here, and that is why when we decide to style the background color of table, it covers every, including all the tables, the more tags that we decide to add inside. But then for the fact that this tr here opened its mouth and let this one come inside, hmm, it still makes this tr here another parent. But it still doesn't change the fact that the table is still the parent of TR. It's confusing, but with time you will really understand what I'm saying. There are a whole lot of child parents inside code. Okay. This one now, as long as it has something in between it, that thing has become its child. Okay, like this one now has something in between it, another element. I didn't say text though, I didn't say content, I mean element. Now this particular element has another one inside of it. That means this one is the child of this one. Okay, and if this same element has another one inside of it, like when we added the img, it means the img tag is now the child of the td. That doesn't mean that when you call TD that you say that, oh, TD, the child of TD is IMG. No, it only happens when you want to use it inside that code, because there's no place that lists child and parent for you. You only call it parent or child when you know that you are adding something in between an element. Like this table, for instance, the child of this table is now the TR and the grandchild is TD. I don't know how to break it down for you. It will get more confusing for you. So I will just leave this one at this. This one that it looks simpler now. This div now is the parent of this all these elements here, both the including the P, the div and H1, because what it is housing it. It is housing all these elements. So automatically it has become the parent. Okay? Am I making sense at all? As long as
Yes,
in between the yes, as long as in between a tag you have other tags inside. That main tag that opened its mouth for the rest has become a parent. Okay, and in this case, div now I'm using div, so div has become the parent of p, div, and h1. Now, to show you that it has formed a box now, it has become the parent of everything, I gave the div a background color of red. It is supposed to draw a single line like the rest, right? Assuming it is not a parent. But now, because it is occupying, like it is accommodating three different elements, when
ma'am,
you,
I
let
have
me
a
show you. Okay.
My question is that block element, right?
Mm,
That block must we add it to our website?
no. There are situations where you will need to add it. Okay, it is not a must if you don't need it, because some of these things already come as block, but most of the time you need it. I just want you to learn it in case you are working on something and you want it to look a certain way. You remember that, oh, I learned this, so I learned that you can actually make this to be an inline block, or you can actually make this to be It is not a must that each time you are trying to write something, you go and change that thing to P, or you go and change it to change the P to inline. You go and change it. It is only when you need it. Okay, you only make use
Okay,
of
ma'am.
it when you need it. Good, but that it is important to learn it so that when the problem comes in the future where you need to do something related to that, you remember that you've learned it and you do it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I can make
So now,
money.
huh?
I can learn it and I can make money.
Yes, you can. You can. You can make money. Good. So now,
I
can you
want
all
to
see
have,
that? Okay. When you
when
have
I
money,
have
will
that
you give
money,
me?
of course, 50%.
Aha. Good. Good. So okay, everybody, let's continue. So can you see the background color I gave this div is now covering up the children, which is P div and H1. Can you see that? Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Why? Why is
Yes,
it okay? So why do you think it's covering up the three?
because we put the three terms inside the div block and we set a background style, so that's why all it still has the background style set on the tag itself, but it has to obey the background style of the
That is a wonderful explanation.
I have
Background
another
noise I am
question.
hearing. Can you mute you? Mute you.
Imagine.
Continue. Good. Okay. What's your question?
Okay, now that we are doing all these background settings, right?
Mm,
How can we now add our own website so that everything can look good?
that is what we are learning. I'm trying to teach
Okay,
you how to make your website look good, how to arrange it.
oh, we
Okay.
are going step by step.
Yes, we are learning it step by step so that when you want to build a full website, you remember that okay, you can do this, you can do this. You'll now be joining it small, 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 small. It will now turn to a full website. Good. So now let's go back. Now you already know why the div is red covering up. It is now the container. It is now the mother, the parent of the elements here because I put it inside. Just like when you open your bag and you put something inside and close it, it is not inside that div. In this case, our div is now our bag that we open the mouth. Okay. So now let's continue. If I decide, let me change this color because I feel the color is interfering with the other one. Since this one is red, it's not letting it show like it should. So I will change it to pink. So I'll have one red here.
It's
Let me
glitching
see what
again.
who is actually saying this glitch thing. Is it Chantel? Chantel, are you sure your network is stable?
My
Can
network
everybody
is stable.
or can everybody actually
20
hear me?
megabytes per second is stable.
Stop glitching at my side.
Ah, that means it's me. Okay. So let me calm down and wait for you to
I can hear you clearly without
I can hear you clearly. Totally clearly.
I can also hear you clearly.
okay.
Now I
So
don't
why
understand you. So,
that, that means it's from your
I
side.
think
If
it's
a lot of
caused
people
by
can
two people. I think it's caused by many people talking at the same time.
okay.
Because it's when many people want to talk at the same time that starts
That it
glitching.
happens.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I think I've noticed that as well. Now let's see how you use your div. Now to make sure we are all on the same page, I am using a div, right? Now I also have a div inside.
A
That means
question. Ma'am,
okay.
is this style background color red? I'm trying to close it, but it's saying no code reactions available.
No what reaction.
No code reaction available.
I don't think I understand you. Are you getting? Let me copy this code now and paste for you to be sure that you are doing exactly what I am doing. I'm pasting it in the chat now. This is my code. This is my code. Just make sure it's exactly what you are doing. Okay. So now let's go back to the. Now I told you how you use flex is when you want to use a flex, it has to be inside a container. Okay. If you want your flex to work, there must be something shielding it. Just like when you have your UL and you have LI, you can use flex in that situation because you have your UL shielding it. And where you put that display of flex will be in the UL, which is the parent. Now, when I want this thing to display as flex, when I do it, you will see what I mean by flex. I will now have to give this a class name. Why do you think I want to give it a class name?
So that instead of you using inline styling, you could use external or internal styling.
And because I also have another div here, because if I just call the div, this div will also be affected and it will get confused. Are you trying to call me? Am I the parent? Are you? It will make your code not function properly. So now I have to give this div a class so that I'll be sure that I'm trying to target this particular div. Do you understand? Do you all understand?
Yes.
So I'll give it a name box. I just want to give it this name. Oh, good. So I just want to give it this name because I don't know what else to say. I cannot come up with another name. Now I'll copy the name to make sure I don't make a mistake. Control C. So how do you tell your browser that you want to write a class? But before then,
Class
good,
name.
good. That's wonderful. Before then, let me get rid of this. This is how it comes, right? Let's see how our work is looking. It's back to how it used to be, right? Can you all see my work? Can you see? The P is back to full width. The div is back to full width. H1 is back to full width because I got rid of the style. I've not done the flex. So can you see that it's back to how it used to be as a block? They are all block elements. So they are back to looking like block elements. Now let me get rid of the red background so that people will not be confused. Can you see that this is how it used to look like when I started working on this? Can you see? Hmm?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Good, good. So now I want to make that flex that I told you about. And where do you target when you want to flex? You target the container shielding the rest of the elements you want to display as flex. So now in this case, I'm using the div and the name I gave it is box. So now if I want to style this box, how do I start? How do I call it here? How do I start? Can you all still hear me at this point? Because you all are quiet, like I did not teach.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
if I want to style that class, I said that class, what do I start with? Hey, so are you running away from the camera? Okay, I can hear you.
No.
Okay,
Font
so
and class name.
good, good. Niola, am I even pronouncing your name well? Richards. Okay, good. You have to start with what dot because you are trying to style a class. Now I have written that and I'll say display what flex. This is just like how you said display inline, there's something else called display flex. Let's see what will happen to our. Can you see how it's looking now? Can you see how it's looking now?
Yes.
Yes,
Ma'am.
The,
Yes,
the three elements, the three elements came here and stayed close to each other in one line. In one line. Now, this flex property comes with different properties as well. You can do something called justify content. And when you say justify content, you can decide to make it end. Okay? Let's see what end looks like. Now our text moved to the end of the page of this page. Now the right side. You can also say, are you all still following? You can also say justify content center. What happens when you justify the content to the center? It comes to the center. You can also say there are other properties that comes with the justify content, and you can say space between. Let's go down and see it. Space between. Now you know what we are styling is still that box, right? This box here, which is the div. Now everything inside is what is taking up that shape. I have displayed it at flex and they all came to the content came together. I want to see what will happen when I say justify content space between. Can you see that the content inside has stretched while leaving space in between each other? Can you see?
Yes. Yes, ma.
There's another one called space around. What happens when you say space around? You give it space here, equal space here, equal space here, then another space here. Another property you can say is space evenly. What happens when you say space evenly? It gives you equal space here, equal space here, equal space here, and then an equal space here. I hope I've not lost you all.
No.
Good.
No.
Good. So you can inside that same flex. There's another. You see something. You see flex. Flex is a long topic, and it helps you. You saw when I showed you my website here. Let me show you my website. This one here, where you have something like this, and this. Can you see? Can you see 1, 2, 3, and 4? This now, this container here, this container here, this container here, this container here. I used one container to shield the design I did here, the design I did here, the design I did here, design I did here, and I set it to flex, and it aligned it this way for me. Normally, when I was writing this particular code, it was coming up looking just straight, straight, straight. But then I put it inside, okay.
When I was doing my own website development,
Mm.
they were showing me that I need to buy all those templates.
You need to buy what?
All the background.
That you need to buy background.
Yes, ma'am.
No, you're not meant to buy any background. You're not meant to buy any background. I don't think you got the. Were you using a Visual Studio Code then?
Yes, and I was also using Google Site.
Okay, Google Sites. The VS Code I use has never asked me to buy any background, or else you want to download an image that is for sale online. They might tell you to buy that.
Yes, when
They
I
might
was
tell.
looking for images, I just snap it on my laptop.
Ah, okay.
Yes,
Now some images, yeah, some images out there come and tell you. Most of them they put a price tag to their images and they'll tell you that you must buy it. Okay, but if you don't have money to buy it, you leave it and look for the free ones. So now, are we all together?
yes, ma'am.
Are we
Yes.
all together at this point? Did you understand what I did with
Yes,
justify content? So now, do you understand what I mean by flex? Do you also understand what I mean by justify content?
Yes,
What
ma'am.
justify content is? Yes,
Yes, ma.
good. So when you say flex, flex already comes as what? As a row. It aligns it like a row. And the next thing that follows is justify content. You either say justify content to be center, okay, you either say it to be space between, space around, or space evenly. You have to pick one and you stick with it. You don't just say justify content and say come down and say justify content another one. You must be sure that this is what you want to use. And then the next thing that comes after justify content is you can see how our text is going up even though everything is in the middle. Our text is here, hanging here. This one is hanging here. Now this one is here because it's already small. But then there's a way to make it align. Now, align items comes next, and I want it to align to the center. What happens at this point? Our div has aligned to the center. Can you see that? The P now has also aligned to the center, and our H1 as usual, which was already aligned, is still aligned to the center. Can you see what happened? Did you all notice the change? Good.
Yes, ma'am.
That's good. So this is what Flex does for you. And I tell you that you will always want to use a flex. Always, always, always. And there's something else called flex direction. Flex is a very big topic. You can also decide to do it on your own. Flex direction as a default comes as a row, but you can also decide to make it a column. And what happens when you choose column as flex direction? It lines up like this. Can you see? Does it make sense? Good. What's your question? Who is asking me?
Hola, is it a must that we must use flex?
There is something else you can use, which is grid. But most of the time, when you're working on a website, like your navbar, can you see my navbar here? Look at how it's lining up. Is someone talking to me? Look at how it's lining up. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Hola.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't just automatically start. It cannot line up like this automatically when you are writing it down. When you are writing it, it should just be coming up this way. How do you now make it to look like this? You use that flex, or you use another one called grid, but that's not what I'm teaching you today. I'm teaching you flex. Okay, so for you to flex is always, now look at this thing I did here. I made these two boxes. I designed this with a divo. Had my icon, I had my H2, had my paragraph text, had my A here. Okay, had another one using, I styled it a div just to make it a container. I gave it the background color that you're seeing here, white, and then had my content inside, which is the H2, the P tag, the A tag. Now, for me to, and when I was designing this, it was coming as a straight line. It was coming 1, 2, and 3. But for me to make it look the way I want it to look, I had to copy it and put it inside one container, which is the div. I use a div container for everything. And then inside that div now came another div, another div, another div. Now, when I said set it to flex, it sets the div to come this way, to align as a row. That's why I told you that you will always want to use a flex. And you always want to use a grid, because you cannot be creating just, now this one you are seeing here now, when you have an image and then this text here was also done using flex. This is how you do your layout. Okay, I also did this one using a flex. I had this entire content in one div, I had my image in another, and then I covered it all using one particular div, and I set that div as flex. Now, when I did that flex, it sets the two divs I have inside, which is this div and this div. Okay? Do you understand? Okay, what's your question?
And
Okay. I don't understand what you're talking. Are you talking about your VS Code?
Yes, when I'm trying to print on my VS Code, they do not want to open it.
Why?
Then I have to download it again, which means I might do it. I think, but another one. When I make it, they're not showing me a lot of code. I started working on it, but when my laptop crashed down and I on the game, it didn't show what I did.
That means you do not save it initially. But is that your folder still in your file explorer or desktop?
Yes, ma'am.
If your folder is there and all the files you created is still inside, you can still open it up again.
Okay, ma'am.
How do you open it up? You just go here. Can you see my VS Code? Go to File. Okay. You can open a folder here. You click on this. You click on it. It will take you to your Explorer, and then you look for it in your desktop. That your name. I don't know what you gave it, but our own is my website. You click on it, and it will still pop up again, and you continue from where you stopped. Or you can go to Open Recent, and it will show you a drop down of all the files you've opened before, all the folders you've opened before. Now let's all continue because time is not on our side anymore. I just want to be sure that you all are following.
Ma, I
I'm
don't
getting
actually
you.
understand the flex that much. I don't understand how it works.
Huh?
I don't understand the flex that much.
Okay, this is how flex works. Does anybody understand this flex I taught now?
Yeah, understand.
Okay, so all of you didn't understand the flex.
Not really.
Okay, now let me go back. Okay, now let me go back to my code. Now let me show you what I mean. When you want something, when you want to use that flex property, eh, most of the time when you want to flex a property, it cannot be just one that you want to flex, right? It has to be like, let's say, two or three or four things that you want to flex. And what do I mean by flex? When I did when I just did the display flex, what you saw was something aligned as row. Okay. When you use flex, it means you want it to align as a row. You want it to align as a row. You have to. How does it work? You need to have something that is shielding everything inside. Now let me get rid of this one. You can still make this a flex. Let's say I have the unordered list. Now this unordered list can actually contain a list too. Like I said, you don't just go and you flex only one. Most times it's not necessary if it's only one thing that you want to flex. Since you can't leave it as a straight line. But what I want to flex is two. Now, because this L1 already has a parent, that means it's already inside a parent. It's enclosed somewhere, okay, and it's enclosed inside this UL. What I want to do now is, let me see how it looks first. I have it here as Hello 1 and Hello 2, okay? Now I want this one to display as what a flex. I don't want it to come out looking like a straight line anymore, like this and this. Let's see.
Now, is there
I will
only
go.
Microsoft Edge that
Huh?
you are using? Is there only
Is it what?
Microsoft Edge that you can use?
No, you can open it with anyone. You can use it. You can open it with Chrome. Just that this one is set to open in Microsoft Edge. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So are you all still with me? I'm repeating it for those that do not understand. The UL is now the parent of the LI, right?
Yes, ma.
Because it is shielding this one. It has this LI, the elements inside of it. Good. So now if I want this element inside to come looking like a row, I can always do this. I can decide to work on the UL. It is always, you don't work directly on the elements, you work on whatever that is shielding it. That is how the display works. You work on the container shielding it. That box that is holding it inside is what does the flexing. Okay, now I want to flex the two contents I have here. I want to flex everything inside my UL. And how do you do that? You say display, and I'll set it as what? Flex. Let's see if it will work. Can you see that it has aligned as a row? Can you see that?
Yes, ma.
And now that it has aligned as a row, I'm telling you that it mustn't always be two text. It can be three. Now I want to have hello 3 now. I also want to have, okay, I want to have hello 3, and I also want to have want to add a third one, which is the hello 4. Let's see. Can you see it's still going as a row because it's still inside that container that I am flexing? I don't know if you understand my point.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if you
Yes,
understand it
ma.
now. I don't know if you're beginning to understand what flex does. It aligns it as a row, but then when it aligns as a row, it comes so close to each other. It comes so close. Now it is now in your place to use the second thing that flex gives you, which is a property called justify content. That property is what makes it position itself the way you want it to. Let's say justify content is a property that flex gives you. It gives you two different properties, not strictly that, but most of the time it is mostly used. It has other properties, but mostly you use the one called justify content and another one called align items. So now justify content, once you click on it, can you see it's already giving me the drop down of what it can do for you. You can either make it a center, you can also make it the end, or you can make it the first baseline. You can all play around with these functions here, with these values here. When you click on space around, it gives the text space around. When you click on space between, it adds space in between the text. When you click on space evenly, it adds even space, which is space to the left, space to the center, space to the other ones, just even number of space. Now let me add space between so you see what I mean. Now look at what is happening. That li that used to be so close, that used to be so close to each other, because I made it a justify content of space between, they all spread out. Can you see? They all spread out. And if I also decide that I don't want it to be a space between, that I want it to be a space around, what happens?
Spacing.
It's
Not spacing.
uh
It's not spacing.
your own.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sure you are putting it inside a container?
I put it inside the div.
Are you sure you close the div because it has to be inside? I'm not saying opening tag. Oh. I said in between the opening tag and closing tag of div. Like this one. This is the div opening tag. This is the entire opening tag. Okay, this is the opening tag of div. And this is the closing tag of that div. And this is the opening tag of UL. And this is the closing tag of UL. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. But it's not still not showing for me.
Why?
I put UL display flex justify content center. Semicolons and everything there. But it's still not
Do you
showing.
have a UL
Yes, ma'am.
and it's listing out properly for you? Have you
Yes.
saved it? Or is it on autosave?
Let me check if it's an autosave. But whenever I
So
try to open it, it still doesn't do what I'm saying.
it doesn't work still. Where are you styling it? You have to be able to check where the problem of your code is coming from, because you can see mine is working. So make sure you're still doing it inside the style tag.
I
If you're
am.
doing it in, you are.
Yes.
I don't know if you can. Let me cancel so you share your screen with me. Are you all still following at all?
Yes, ma.
Is anyone confused?
Ma.
Okay. Paula, share. Let me stop sharing so that you can share your screen. Do you want to share your screen with me? Huh?
I'll share my screen.
Let me stop sharing so that you share your screen so that everybody will also see where your problem is coming from.
Paula, did you add your
Okay. Save your work and show me what it looks like in the browser.
everything looks good alright?
You have justified it to be center. So what else do you think it will do? I can see your work.
Evenly.
Do space evenly. It's saved, right? So why did you say it's not working?
See that part.
Huh?
I didn't see that part.
Okay. So now all of you, let's go back to the class. So I'm sure that by now you all have a hang of what I'm trying to teach, right? Is it making sense now?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So you can decide to have a div and then have images, like 4 images, and you want it to line up to line up like a row. You can decide to make that div a flex, but make sure the image is not so much. You can make the image size to be like small so that it can enter the 4 lines of that width. Okay. So let's all continue. Are you all following at this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Good, good. So we don't have much time anymore, and we still have a lot of things we've not covered. So you have to bear with me, because we have to finish up, and right now we have to keep moving. Now there's something else you can do. Assuming you don't want it to have a lot of space, let's say you want to have it. Now the next thing I want you to add as well is the align items. What does it do for you? It aligns the item to the center. Let's say you have a text inside, so now align it properly for you to the center. And now let's go back and see what it looks like. This is what it looks like now. Still looking the same because it's a text. Let me remove that justify content I did before. Are you also seeing my screen?
Yes,
For
ma'am.
the UL, I want to remove the justify content, which means it will come back looking like this, right? It will come back looking like this. Now, I don't want you to have a whole lot of space. I want to have just a little bit of space around it. There's something that you can do. No, you can do something called gap. Just give it a gap. Remember it with this name. You want to give it a gap. Let me give each of them a gap of 20 pixels. Let's see what it will look like. Now, can you see it's giving it some gap? All right.
Yes,
Can you see it's giving it some gap? It's not clustered. I don't want it to spread so much. I can decide to do that by using the gap and not justify it. But you can also decide to, I can still decide to justify it to the end. Who has a question for me? Let's see. Now I've moved it to the end, but it still has my gap. Okay. So now what's your question?
my question on this website here, right?
Mm,
This is where everything is uploaded. Yes, code.
I can't hear you well.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
From this website, yes, ma'am.
Okay. From what?
From the website where everything is uploading, right?
Okay.
So can you go to your website first?
This. You want to see this one?
Yes, ma'am. Hey, can you also edit anything here? Like, let's say you don't have your VS code, like it's not working.
No, you cannot do anything here. This is just a browser. It doesn't give you the right to start editing anything, or else you just want to right click, inspect the page, and it will list out the code that the browser has. Can you see? But then it still doesn't give you the right to touch it, or
Sorry,
else
I was
it's your own. You can
disturbing
actually make changes to your work actually inside here if your VS Code isn't opening. Let me know if I can change the background color to, let's see if it will work. So from brown, I want to change it to yellow. Let's see. Let's see if it will work. And yeah, it works. Can you see that? Can you see it works?
you. Yes.
Yes.
Good. So did you see how I entered this page?
Sorry for disturbing.
No, you're not disturbing me. You're asking me a
Okay.
question. Yeah, you saw how I went there. You right click on the white space, you go to inspect, and it pops this for you. You have to click on these ones because they are hiding your content for you, and you can just go there and you do your thing. Make sure you tap and tap until it allows you to edit it. But since you already have a VS Code with you,
So
why
when is
stress and be
the
doing
class
it
ending like?
there? This week, by the end of the week, it should be over. That's why I want us to be as fast as possible to learn as much as we can before the end of the class. So, have you seen what the gap did for you? Can you hear me? Have you seen what the gap did for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So you can try to apply that yourself. Let's go back to the slide. Let's see what we have next, because we are meant to create a navigation bar today, but from the look of things, everything is now slow. We've learned the flex. We've learned the okay. Now, when you download this, I want you to go and take a look at this, because this material will still be uploaded to the Link School app. I want you to go and take a look at these suggestions for you. If you want to align a text inside an element, you use the text align. These are just things, shortcuts I made for you. If you want to have multiple items in a row, you use the display flex, justify content. Okay. So I don't want to go deep into it. When you get the content, you can always. This is also another advice for you, or use text align only for text and inline content. Use margin auto for block level elements. These are just things you can just check out. So next thing we are meant to learn is the CSS positioning properties.
She's glitching.
Okay.
Try to talk now.
Can you still hear me?
Okay, it's not glitching again.
Good. Okay, we'll continue. So now we want to learn how to position things and position elements using CSS. Okay, you people fully understood the flex, right?
Yes.
Good. So now I want to show you.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
good.
Yes,
I want to
ma'am.
show you. It's okay. It's okay. Good. Now I want to show you the positioning properties we have. What we learned before was display properties. Now the next thing is the positioning properties. And after learning this, we'll go straight and design a navigation bar quickly, because we don't even have time anymore. So the first positioning property we'll need to learn is the static position. Okay, this is a table that broke it down for us. I don't like that I'm hearing you discussing with your sister or your somebody within that background. It's affecting me. You're distracting me and others. So now the first position that CSS has is static, and static is just the default position that elements have. They come as a static position. Okay, they're just there, just sitting there, not moving around. That is what I mean by static. Okay, It is just positioned according to the normal flow of the web page. Every element is static. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, every element is just static.
Um,
Now, the next one I want us to learn is relative. How does relative position work? It keeps the elements in the normal flow, but it shifts it. The relative position can shift your element for you just slightly. Okay, the relative position shifts your elements for you. Let me show you what I mean. Let me go back here and I will remove the flex thing that we've done. I hope you all have a note of this. Okay, or should I copy the code and paste for you? I don't know if I should do that. It's not necessary, don't worry. Let me just comment it out while we continue with our class. Now, I want you to see how it was looking initially. How it was looking initially. Let's see. Let me get rid of the div. Let me get rid of this div so that we'll see how our page is still looking. Now it's back to how it used to be. I want to work with this. Can you see this? I want to work with this. The 3. So just so I don't distract us, I want to also comment out the li I had. So I will comment it out and then I will go back and check it out. Now the li is gone, so I have this. You can still see the items I want to show you how to position. Now the static is how it is now. By default, it is static. This one is static, this one is static, this one is static. So there's no, you don't need to use the static position because it's already static. Now I want to make my P relative. I want to make my div. This is the div here. I want to make it the one that has color pink. I want to make it relative. And now how do I do that? I will go here. Since I did not give it a class name, I'm just going to use the div, the element selector. I will say position. And what I want to make it look like is the relative. Now, mind you, it's still looking like how it used to. It's almost like static. It will look the same way until you decide to give it a movement. What do I mean by this movement? You say you want the top. You want your top to be 0. Do you understand what I'm doing? 0 pixels. I don't need to add this. Let me see. You want the top to be 0 and you want the left anyhow you want it. Let me just show you. You might get confused at this point, but let me just clear it out for you. Can you see it's now moving? It's moved from where it used to be to this place, just around where it is. Yes, it moved a little bit. But then the thing is that it is now moving away from our screen and causing an overflow. When you're working on a website and it's doing something like this and it's scrolling from here, you can actually have the scroll. It's not supposed to be there. It means your website is overflowing. It's now going to this part. There's a way to get rid of it, but first of all, let me show you what the relative does. Now, just around its own position, when you make an element a relative, it just moves around where it is. Most of the time, it will be blocking another one. That's one thing about it. But it is not always used on its own. Okay, you have seen what this one did for us, right? It moved it a little bit. This is what the relative did. Let me just make this a 10 pixels. Let me see if it will make it. Okay, it's now moving by 10 upwards by 10 pixels, left 10 pixels. You can see that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You can also, instead of left, you can make it right. So the alignment properties you use for relative is the top, left, right, and bottom. Okay. So you can also decide to make it right, but you don't go about making it top, left, right, bottom. You always choose two. Do you want it to go top and then left, or you want it to go top and then right, or you want it to go bottom and then right, or bottom and then left? You always pick two because it cannot happen. You cannot just. It's not magic. It will not go around all the borders you want it to go all at once. It's not a video now, sure you know. So now I want it to go right and then 10 pixels, and that is what I did here. From the right, it pushes it away by 10 pixels. Okay, you all can see that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So the next position I want us to check out is the absolute position. The absolute position. Now, I'm still using that my div, the same pink one. So what I want you to look at is the div, which is this pink color here. Absolute position. When you make that particular element an absolute, immediately you say absolute. You've not aligned it yet though. Let's see what happens. Can you still see your pink? It has run away. Just went somewhere and hid. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Absolute is almost like a crazy element. Once you use absolute, it just keeps moving around. Most of the time, if you're not careful, it might even disappear from your page. Let me give it a top of 10 pixels. Let's see. Are you all still with me in this class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma.
Good. Now, good. It's 12 o'clock, but I do want to leave because we've not designed a navigation bar yet. And I want us to quickly do that so that you know how to do the navigation bar so you'll be able to do it yourself. So
Okay,
do you
so
want to say
tomorrow we can go like that, start a new topic.
you have to start a new topic? That's the thing. So you have to give me just some minutes so that I can quickly tell you this and design a navigation bar as quickly as possible, okay? Good. So the next one is this is absolute still. I made it a top of 0. But how does absolute work? Absolute is crazy. You have to give it a container. Now, because it's seeing the body as the parent, absolute works almost like flex. It always needs a parent. Okay, you have to give something relative. You have to make something relative so that absolute will work. I don't know how to. If you make something relative and then another thing right beside it, absolute, then absolute will start positioning itself just around that container you gave relative. What do I mean by this? Now, the parent of this one is where it is moving around to, which is this, which is the body just moving around. Now, I'll give this one, this our green, I'll give it the position of, or maybe let's just give the entire box a div. Let me give the entire box a div and then align everything inside just like I did with the other one. Now, for me to make my absolute just rotate around my div, I will make the div the position of a relative while my div, this other div. But it's an issue now because it will start clashing with the div I already styled here. You notice that, right? So now what it means is I'll need to give this a class name. I'll give it a class name of div. Just so I know. Now what the only thing I need to do now is just to change it to dot div to make sure that it's a class that we're talking about. So this position of absolute, for the fact that I've given a box the div, it is now aligning itself inside this box. Now, okay. Are you also following? Are you also with me?
But how do you make it kind of like stop appearing? Can you give it an exact position like X, Y,
Can you give me what?
an exact position like X, Y,
Top. That's what the top left right gives you. You have to. You don't have a manual that gives you X this, Y this, something like that. It depends on how you want your content to appear. Just using this div as an instance. It can be something else. It can actually be an image that you want to move around like this. Okay? And you want to move it around in such a way that it stays around a container. Do you understand me at all? Don't worry, we'll still go through this. Now we've seen how the absolute and the relative works. There's something else called fix. And fix is always used for, have you ever seen a navigation bar that when you are scrolling, it still stays there? Like this one. Can you see my navigation bar is still there? You can still see my navigation. That means you can easily still go to another page, right? You can still see my navigation bar. It was given a position of fixed. The entire container was given a position of fixed and a top of 0, which means that no matter how much I scroll, it is not leaving there. Okay? So that is what where have I moved to? So that is what the container does for you. Now the next one is sticky. Sticky is almost like fixed. It's always used for nav bars as well. And now let me show you what I mean by fixed. Let me create should I do this or should I go straight to teaching you how to create a nav bar? Should I teach you how to create a nav bar or should I show you the fixed? Because you all should tell me. Should I start teaching you how to create a nav bar now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
If you want to learn how to do the fix, let me first of all get rid of. Let me show you this because I don't want to teach you when you are not interested. I'll be doing this P, and I'll say click me. Now I want to have. Please, I don't want that noise. Please, I want to be as fast as I can. Are you all there? Are you all still following?
Yes,
This is for who asked me to repeat the fix and what the fix does. Now this is my P and I want to give it a position of what? Let's say, let me give it a background color first. I'm giving this a background color of red. I'm giving this a background color of red. So now if, let's see what it looks like. This is now my P, background color of red. Let me give it a width so that it looks a little bit like a button. I'll give it a width here.
Mama, why not just create a button instead of making it look like a button?
You can do it. You can do whatever you want. You can decide to style an element to look like a button. Or you can also look like. You can also use the button tag. It works anyway. So now this is what I want to position. I want to position it as fixed. Okay. Now what do I do? Please, the noise. Reduce the noise. Display this as fixed. If I display this as fixed,
Wait, and if the red eye is still confused, we still, so it now had the way to cut the red eye. That one be mistake.
can you also hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So now this button here, I've positioned it to be fixed at this point. And now I'm giving it the right side as well of that same bottom. I want it to also be 10 pixels. Didn't work. Right bottom 10 pixels. Position fixed. Why is it not working? Right 10 pixels.
Use text align for stuff like that. It's not in a container.
You can also use text align, but it will be moving together with your text. I don't know if you get what I mean. It's moving together with your text. You want this to stay fixed on the page. Display fixed. Right 10 pixels. Why is it not obeying me? Am I making a mistake? There must be something wrong.
What if you press open a live server? Because I don't think you saved it before going on.
I think it's on auto save. I think it's on auto save, so it should be able to do this. There must be a reason why it is not displaying my work correctly. There must be a reason why it's not displaying my work correctly. It's meant to move to the bottom of the page and then right. Okay. It's looking at me. Don't worry, I'll still come back to this and figure out what the issue is. So I'll leave it this way while we work on the navigation bar. So how did I tell you that you open a navigation bar? I'm not done with the class. I'm teaching you how to create a navigation bar now. So you have to listen attentively. Are you all listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma.
Okay.
You
So
create
you add the tag, okay?
you create
Now I'm creating the nav and you do what? You create the unordered list. Can you all still hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
And you create the list like I showed you in the image. It needs to have the names you want to see. And then I will duplicate this and change the names. Okay, I did this. Okay. I'm duplicating this into 4 places. I'll create the about and the contact. And also I want to have a gallery. I want to have a gallery. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Now this is how it's looking. This is how it's looking for now. This is it. It's looking this way, coming like a list. You can see that. So now the first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of I don't like that it's giving me an extra space. I don't want that. So I'll get rid of the margin. I'll just say nav. Now just so you know, when you download my slide, you will see the processes here. Now this is what a navigation bar looks like. You can come this way or you can come this way, vertical or horizontal. So now it breaks down how you can create a navigation bar. So once you get this, you will definitely be able to create yours. So this is exactly what I've written. Apart from the fact that it doesn't start with a nav, make sure you start with a nav. And then the next thing I want us to do is we need to remove extra space around it. I just want you to stay close to the screen like this. That is by removing the margin and the padding and making it 0. And also I want us to remove that bullet point. How do you remove bullet points? Huh?
Bullet point. So you
Yes.
by going to list style type. None.
Good. Wonderful. List style type. I'm making it none. I'll change the margin to 0 and padding. Can you all still hear me? I can't even hear you all properly. So the padding has become 0 and the list style is out. The list style is out. The next thing is, what do you think I should do? How do I make it to form a row? What do you think? I taught you something like this. How do I make it to form a row? I don't want it looking like a column like this. How do I make it form a row? To go on a straight line. I can't hear you well.
You make it.
You put it on a straight.
I put what?
You put it on a straight.
I can't hear you. I put them where?
In line.
You put all of them straight line.
in a container.
In
Wow, I can't hear you clearly. Let's wait for network to clear up. I cannot hear you clearly.
you all be
How do you do that? You do that using the display what? Property.
Line.
Display, I'll display it as what?
Line.
Huh?
Line.
Let's try inline.
Or none.
It is looking at you, is it not? That means you don't remember the important lecture I taught you. You display it as what? Flex. Now can you see it is lining up like they should? Can you see the huge importance of flex? Can you?
Yes, ma'am. Now I can see it.
Good. So now it has lined up the way I want it to line up. The next thing I want to do is that since I added a link, can you see that it is drawing a line underneath my text? Can you see that? Huh?
You added a link.
I added a link, the A tag. Can you see where I added the A tag? So how do I get rid of the line that comes with the A tag?
You put
This
text
A.
decoration none.
Good. And that should be for the A. You make it text decoration none. Let's see. The line is off. So now I want it to have a little bit of gap because I don't want to have so much space there. How do I add a gap to my list? Gap, you give it any pixel you want. Huh?
10 pixels.
Jesus, why can't I hear you? I can't hear you all at all. It's glitching, but I don't know if you can still hear me.
I hear you, ma, clearly.
Okay, so can you repeat your question? Hmm? Write it in the chat, okay? I can't hear you. I don't know why. But write it in the chat so I can check it out from there. Yes?
I want to see it from the beginning.
How can you see from the beginning?
Now, you have not done it. The project.
You have not done what?
The project.
Which project?
This one.
I'm still working on it. I'm not done creating my nav.
Okay, ma.
Good. So now the next thing I want to do is I will justify my content. What do I mean by justify content? Either make it have space around, space between, space evenly. Have you sent the message to the chat?
Yes, ma.
Are you also even listening to my class or
I'm
we're
listening
talking about MS? Hey, the students. Okay, now what's your? I'm looking for the question you dropped. What's Paula? Have you dropped a message, Paula? They are distracting you. Don't worry. Take your eyes off the chat and just focus on what's on your screen. Okay.
for that reason,
I can't I can't even hear you all at all. Please stop talking about MSA. Anybody that says it one more time, I will get you out of the class. Okay? You cannot keep distracting my students. Now let's go back to what we are doing. Now, what I want to do is I want to justify my content. What do I mean by justify content? I want to either have a lot of space in between, or stay in the center, or go to the right. Let me show you what I mean. I want to take you to the center. Let's see. Now my nav is in the center. Can you see that? Did you all see that? Good. Let me get this out of the way. Oh, you can make it justify content and
How do you add the logo to make it look modern
huh?
website? Like, how do you
How
add
do
the
you
to make it seem like all these modern websites? Right now, it looks very boring.
it looks boring because this is the navigation bar and you've not even added a background color, neither have you increased the font size or changed the font. Now this the logo is the header, okay, where you have the
I have a
title,
question.
and the logo. Now let's add in a background color to our navigation bar. I want to give it a background color of are you all still following? Background color of black. Because it's black now, my text will look weird. So I want to change my text to be white. I want to change my text to be white. I'll use color and I'll say white. I will increase the font size a bit. Shouldn't be too much though. Let's see what it looks like for now. I think the 10 is too small. Let's use 20. Can you all see my page?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to add a padding to my nav now so that it will have a lot of space inside. What do I mean by padding? Inside here, I want to have space just here. Let's see if our 30 pixels will be too much. That's huge. Yes? Can you all still hear me? I'll make it a 15 pixels. I'll make it 15 pixels of padding because it's looking too much. Can you all still see my page? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Good. I can also decide to take my text to be in the center by leaving my justify content instead of end. I'll make it center. Let's see. It's here now. Which do you prefer? Do you want it here or the end? Now I want more gap though.
I think center is good. I think I've not written something correct here.
Okay, I'll copy right now and give you. I have increased the gap. If you want it to spread even more, you can do that. Can do that by making it a 20 pixel gap. Now this is what it's looking like. This is what it's looking like. Is it coming up and is it looking a little bit like the website you see? Is it? Good. So this is how you form your work. Now you have used CSS. You've also used the nav. You've also used the nav. Now you see how the navigation works. Okay. So let me copy the code and send to you. I'll copy from the beginning, right? Should I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So here. Okay. Okay. I've sent it. Are you still with me?
Yes, ma'am.
So because of time, should we keep designing or till tomorrow? Because it's already so much time, we've taken up so much time. Now you can all see, yes, good. So tomorrow you can see all how our nav is looking already. This is coming out really beautiful. So now in between here is where you add your links. Here is where you add your links. Assuming you have, let's say that this is our about page. You know that we've not worked on the about page, right? But then I just want to show you how you add files. You just add files by, let's say you have your, let's say that this is your style.html is your about page, and okay, and this one is
Index
mm,
page. It's index.html.
yeah, okay, let's use the index. Good, and this one is another thing. Let's say a table. The HTML. Let's just see what I'm trying to let you understand. So that when you click on this, it takes you to this one. Can you understand? Can you see what I'm trying to do? When you click on this, it takes you another page. That page has to have a navigation bar that this one has as well, so that you can easily go to another page and do. It just helps you navigate to different pages of your website. Now, this is how you create your navigation bar, and you can also decide to style it however you want. Okay, if you want it to have a border, let's say you want all your lists to have a border, you can still do that. Good. I think that's all. Let me show you what you do for me, and then it will be the end of this class. I think we've all tried. I've tried as well. I'm tired.
You can also download the what you call the slides, right?
Yes, you can. You have to self, to be honest, so that you will do this. Now, this is your assignment. What do I mean by main? Main content is inside where you add stuff. So now you have to add that main yourself. I want you all to test your limits. We've not used the main tag, we've not used the section tag, but you already know what it is. So I want you to add it next.
Okay, ma'am.
Have you copied this?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you all copied it?
I'm not. No, ma.
I have copied it.
Okay, you can actually take
I
a
just did
screenshot.
this. I just did a screenshot so I can be able to check it later.
Good. So you can all take a screenshot of it if you don't feel like copying it all. So I hope we learned something today, all of you. I hope we learned
Yes,
something.
ma. Sorry, I have to go now. My baby sister is still she's not feeling too good, so I have to check on her.
Okay, okay. See you tomorrow. Okay, bye bye.
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 Bye, ma'am.
Bye, all of you. Bye bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, all of you. Bye bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.